Okay, we're just about finished up with these rudder stocks. We'll have them all finished today. Just finished turning the outside diameter of the bronze liner or wear sleeve that is on here. There's a slightly larger diameter down here for the bearing and a slightly smaller diameter for where the packing for the water sealing arrangement rides. And we just got to put the chamfers on there and then kick it out of the lathe. And there's one in the mill getting its flats for its emergency steering gear, which we'll show that in a minute here. We've got the other two which are finished on the pallet, ready to strap on there. And I'll go explain quickly what these are actually for. So this is a totally different style boat than the one that those rudder stocks in the shop are for. However, the premise still applies. The forward end of the vessel, of course, is that way. This is the back end of the vessel here. That, of course, is a propeller. That is a rudder. They come in various shapes and sizes, and some are what they call balanced and some are unbalanced. Some have a bearing on the lower end. Most of the vessels that we work on are that style. Larger vessels and high-speed craft have what are called spade rudders, which are unsupported on the lower end, so all the stress gets taken by the shaft rudder stock at the top end. This, however, is a nearly identical style to the one we're working on, those rudder stocks in the shop, that is. And under that fairing compound there is a flange, and then the rudder stock extends up through a bearing, through a water seal arrangement into the boat, and there'll be a steering gear at about this height inside the vessel that'll push that, twist it one way or the other, and then of course it'll cause the rudder to move, which allows you to steer the vessel. The arrangement of those of the vessel that we're working for which the rudder stocks belong to, it has a quart nozzle, which is a large shroud that surrounds the outside of the propeller. Actually, I know where I can show you. Here's another plate style rudder from a fishing vessel, totally unrelated to all this. So that's the lower end bearing, or the pintle bearing, and that's the upper rudder flange from where the rudder stock would connect to and then project up into the boat. So this vessel here would have the most similarities to the one that the rudder stocks that are in the shop belong to. So here's some of the rudders for this vessel laying down on the deck here. The lower end being here. There's a pintle bearing there. There's the upper rudder flange. And then all the rudder stocks are already mounted in this vessel, and there's two per propeller nozzle arrangement. These here are quart nozzles. You can hopefully find some more information on that, certainly on just the internet, and there ought to be a few YouTube videos about it. I'm not sure, however. They dramatically improve the efficiency of propellers in slow speed vessels, and they are a bit of a performance killer in a way when it comes to maneuverability. So generally they will have a pair or sometimes even three rudders behind each nozzle, and some inland river craft, especially in the US, have additionally what are called flanking rudders, which are installed ahead of the quart nozzle. It doesn't need to have a nozzle. It could be an open propeller arrangement to have flanking rudders, and they're specifically to be used when the vessel is operating in the stern, so it has better maneuverability. You don't generally find such things up in our neck of the woods, so flanking rudders are very much an oddity. But certainly quart nozzles with two rudders and triple rudders are a thing around here. So there's the rudder, the lower end of the rudder stocks, and the rudders get bolted onto the lows there, and they sit vertically like so, a pair of them. They're all linked together into one controllable sort of mass. There's to my knowledge, no vessels in our vicinity that you can control the rudder setting independently, port and starboard. They all move as one, and it seems to work out fine. There's a cutlass bearing. It's what the propeller shaft rides in. It's water lubricated rubber there, bronze or brass there. We'll talk more about that someday. And a lot of both Rudder stock bearings and sometimes pintle bearings are also made out of production made cutlass bearings. For the propeller shafts, they're generally about 4 times the diameter of the shaft. But for rudders or pintle bearings, they're usually much less. In some cases, only 1 diameter long, so to speak. All right, we're just putting the flats on here for the emergency steering gear. We've got the depth where we want it, but we've got to tweak the lengths just a little bit, but that's fine. I was going to show you real quick how I went about laying that out. It's 4-sided, and it gets sort of each flat is carved on there, 45 degrees to this axis sort of thing. So we set it up so that the keyway was 45 degrees to the table facing down. We made 1 flat, which with the milling cutter the way it is was on that side. Then we rolled it 90 degrees so that the milled flat was facing upward. And then I took my dial indicator on a sled and ran it back and forth a bunch of times until I got it set up within about a thou and clamped it, milled that second side. And then the next time I clocked it, all I do is I take a little Starrett, antique Starrett combination square on top of a spacer. So we've got a piece of key stock just down on the bed, try to get it nice and clean. And then the combination square just sits up against one side there. And that can reference all consecutive sides after that. Once you can roll around to that edge, you're home free. There's innumerable ways to do it, but that's just for making something that's got 100 thou clearance between it and the socket that engages with it. This is just fine. So